Southword began as a literary journal, as a Cork literary journal originating out of the Munster Literature Centre. Within a few issues, it morphed into a national literary journal published out of Cork, and now it's an international literary journal originating out of Ireland. As with the Whale competition, about 70%, 75% of unsolicited submissions come from abroad. Both the competition and the journal managed to convey an image to the world of Cork being a city of literary significance. We have a lot of literary organisations now doing great work in the city, and whereas before Cork was a city where a writer talent ought to, in Frank Conna's words, pack their bags and get out, it's now a city which is attracting writers from elsewhere to come and join the literary community in Cork. In spite of the fact that over 70% of the submissions came from abroad, delighted to see that two of the six unsolicited stories selected for the current issue were written by Cork residents. Because with each graduation of the journal, from local Cork journal to national literary journal to international journal, the editorial bar has been raised. The quality at which your writing is at has grown much higher, and the two Cork writers who selected for this edition stand shoulder to shoulder with writers that have submitted work from all over the world. The journal also includes specially commissioned work as well as unsolicited work. The first writer I'm going to invite up is Niamh Bagnell, and Niamh had a reading spot at last year's festival because she was part of an initiative by Fiction at the Friary, which is another excellent literary organisation in Cork City. And they had a slot last year where they presented writers whom they'd coaxed and coached rather to read their work in public, because of course writing for the page and declaiming your work in public are two quite different talents and abilities. So Niamh is also a member of the Midleton Writers Group, and she's a former Liffey Sound host. And she, in her bio note, she says she's commonly found in nature, distractedly reading, dreaming, and hunting truth. So please welcome Niamh.
Thanks very much. I'm delighted to be here, and now I can't claim that this is my first story, but it is my first story in Southword, so I'm thrilled to be in the publication, and thanks so much for Leo Callahan as well for the great encouragement that he gives writers through workshops he does and so on, so I'm thrilled to be here. So this is from a story called Expecting Art. I'm good at seeing patterns in things. I see triangles in the darkness between chips as they fry. They swim to the surface, potato cuboids, creating tiny waves, barrels that only the smallest surfer in the world could use. I imagine a painting, a creature with beetle-tough skin, dead centre, gliding on bursting hot crests of oil, deftly avoiding the iceberg-sized chips that sizzle in the storm. I doodle on a paper bag, but it's nothing like the picture in my mind. There's only so much a biro can do. Know the limitations of your medium, Miss Corbett used to say, as we hung on her every word. She always saw me as a medium. Those were the marks. Never anything more than average. She couldn't believe someone like me, lumpy and ordinary looking, could produce anything worth anything. I guess she was right. Here I am. The closest I come to being artistic is deciding what order to put stuff on buns, ketchup first or onions. I remind myself of happier things. Art is going to call in tonight. I'm so sure of it, I've my apron tied up tight, giving me a waist. We've called him Art, Sinead and I, because he sells his breathtaking paintings on the street, when he's not away selling at festivals. We christened him 3 years ago when he first arrived in town, and have been admiring him quietly ever since. Sorry. I have one eye constantly on the large window of McChicken's where I work, watching for his bouncy walk and the bright coloured hoodie. Imagine my delight a month ago when we met in the throng outside Tangante's and he offered to walk me home. He was confused at first, thought I was someone else, but said he'd walk me anyway. I see my big distorted face in the aluminium back wall of the fryer. It is red. Excitement, desire, bright lights, big city. I imagine him coming in and seeing me, my eyelashes demurely lifting towards the front of the shop, his heart pounding in his chest, wondering if I know him after his time away working at Glasgow. The festival ended last week, so I'm expecting him back. I'll just smile and say, "Hey you," as if I've forgotten his name, all cool. I'll reveal later that I didn't use his real name because I don't like it as much as art. I imagine the tingle of his hand on my cheek. I've arranged my blue McChicken's hairnet with the elastic sitting right on the hairline, not halfway down my forehead, so I won't have a big line across my brow. The shop fills up by 7, it being Friday. People who got too hungry, too lazy to cook, some whose regular treat this is, all crowd in. Anne insists on being at the till early on, my older colleague. She complains of hot flushes a lot, but I think it's the fryers. She thinks she's been made manager by Harry, the calf-haired owner, because he lets her wear a blouse. This means she says ridiculous manager things to me and Paolo, like, "Time to lean, it's time to clean." She thinks she's my mother too, always saying things like, "Did you meet anyone nicer than yourself?" and "Hope you're being careful." Of course, I normally am careful. But with art, it didn't arise. We were so far past the point of care. It's amazing how a 15-minute walk can dwarf a lifetime. He said things about how beautiful I looked, the dance of eternity in the stars, stuff about his childhood, his own hopes for the future, how exactly he'd like to remove my clingy dress, and what exactly he'd like to do next. Words turned the short trip into an agony of lustful longing. We didn't discuss whether he was coming in or not. There was no small talk. It was straight up to my room, one armload of clothes, push off the bed, and 2 arms full of me laid onto it. The same gentle fingers that dusted pastel ballerinas into existence, doing magical things to my excited body. Impossible, beautiful things. Afterwards, he said it was okay. It was his time of the month. He made me laugh. But then I made him laugh too. I thought he'd wake the house with his roars when he saw the McChicken's uniform on the floor. He told me it was his favourite chipper, and he'd be in, definitely, to see me in the cute little apron after Glasgow. I marvelled at his curls and knew he was lying about it being his favourite, since he'd never darkened the door. Not in the past 3 years, I had noticed. He surprised me by leaving before dawn. He had a job. A sexy artist, practical enough to hold down a day job, while still getting out on the streets to share his gift. My stomach tumbled with joy, and my legs danced in the bed as the front door closed. He'd even taken my McChicken's cap as a souvenir. After the Friday evening rush, there's a lull when only wasters are out. Sinead and Lewis arrive later still. She's on a Buckfast bus, meaning they drank mostly at home, coming out for last orders. Lewis is her tutor, which is why they avoid going out till late, as if anyone would bother reporting them. He doesn't even grade her, just gives her a few physics tutorials. They'll split when he runs out of lessons. The danger will be gone. Sinead demands a strawberry milkshake, Lewis a cheeseburger and Coke, which I sell to him with a bottle of water for her. We don't do milkshakes. "Guess what?" Sinead asks, picking up a straw. "What?" "We saw art." "Yeah?" "Yeah, the art with the tart," said Lewis. "He was not with a tart," Sinead says. "He was in the Pipers with his sister. She looked very, very like him." My heart flips. The Pipers is the nearest pub, only 3 doors up. "Are you sure?" "She was practically his twin," Lewis says sarcastically. "Sure, we're sure," Sinead says, eyes wide and lips rubbery. I move on to the next customer. A blush that's a mix of excitement and nervous doubt engulfing my neck. The pace of the night quickens as pubs spew out their drunken customers. There must be 200 hungry faces, 400 grotty grabbing hands, 199 slurred face-to-face orders, and one shouted from the door, "Your man smoking outside, only coming in when it's cooling on the counter." I take the cash, count coins back to them, splash salt, sprinkle vinegar. None of these things need thought. I go automatically, a low ache in my back, pulsing silently as the hours fly. At 2:30 a.m, I catch a glimpse. Looks like Art, passing the window in a hurry. He doesn't look in. The hood covers the face, and whoever it is turns the other way to roar up the street. He's gone from view before a girl follows, passing the window in a scurry of skimpy clothes, all provocative movement. I see her laugh a dirty laugh, but I can't hear it through the buzz of the chip shop. My face feels hot. I grab dirty bags and cardboard soggy from vinegars off the tables. Even if it wasn't him, even if it was him, he wasn't shouting at her. And if he was, then she probably is his sister. I remember again the tender way he held me that night. I have it, I think, the blush returning. Maybe he'll be outside when I finish. He'll surprise me. He wants me to meet his sister, get her approval on me. After closing, I get the day's grease off my face and the ladies, hand soap cutting through the grime. Anne shines the brass. She has a bag for me when I'm leaving, a few spare quarter-pounders. She has a silly, secretive smile, like she notices everything. I take it, and breathless, head out onto red lemonade-coloured streets. My chest tingles uncomfortably in the cold. My rattling heart slows when I see a deserted footpath both ways. It mustn't have been him.